it's been reported that Lucas Paqueta will, in fact, sit in front of a hearing in Brazil, whether it be via video link or in person, I'm not quite sure at the moment, on December the 3rd. So a couple of months delayed for Paqueta. I mean, I don't know about you. I just feel like she's just dragging and dragging. I just want it resolved. One way or another, I just bloody resolve this. You know, I either be found guilty or not. It needs to be concluded because it's just dragging on and on and on. And it's just, yeah, no good for anyone. No good for Paqueta especially, but no good for West Ham. Just feels like this is just a situation that's just going to keep dragging and dragging. So yeah, really, really frustrating. But Paqueta has been successful. It is going to be delayed, and it won't now be till December. So whatever that has a positive or negative effect on the Paqueta situation, I don't know. Who knows? It just feels like, if anything, it just feels like kicking the can down the road a little bit, doesn't it? But there we have it. But this video as well is not just regarding Lucas Paqueta, because I don't really want to talk about it too much, because there isn't really much to say, is there? Other than it's just becoming a problem for this football club, and one we need to get resolved, you know, because we need to get resolved. I mean, I like the fact we're standing by the player, and rightly so, but I think West Ham have got to start being a bit clever here, because it does feel, you know, an outside looking in, it doesn't look great, does it? But yeah, there we have it. So we're not going to find any more out, because I was quite hoping, actually, that the hearing would be today, because at least then, if there was a verdict, let's say in a month's time or whatever, or in a few weeks' time for Brazil, we then get a bit of a feel of what's going to happen here, because whatever happens out there, you imagine would be pretty similar to what would be the conclusion here as well. So I feel like we need to know one way or another where this is going. But yeah, unfortunately now we're not going to get there, and Paqueta's now. But having said that as well, maybe the fact now he's got a couple of months until he's now got to sit in front of the authorities in Brazil, it may ease the pressure on him a little bit. Maybe he can now just focus on his football and not think, well, I haven't got to worry about this too much at the moment. I don't know. Let's hope so, because we need him back playing and back in form, because at the moment he isn't playing right, and I'm actually sort of swaying to the side now that he should just be dropped entirely at the moment. Although I did think he actually played better against Manchester United in his appearance, but I'm starting to fear for him a little bit, you know, for his mental state, and feeling like it's getting a bit too much for him, because I did feel like he was sort of angling for a red card in that bloody game at times, you know, against Man United. You thought, does he really want to be on the pitch, you know? So, yeah, it's a bit of a concern. But anyway, let's talk about Lucas Paqueta. Let's talk about the London Stadium. It was revealed a couple of weeks ago that, well, it was announced, wasn't it, by the mayor's office, that they had approved panelling to be installed on the London Stadium roof, and this panelling is going to enable the stadium. It's going to be like solar panelling, which is going to enable the stadium to run in a more green way, and it can even power something like 20 football matches a year, and it can also do, which is effectively West Ham's home games, and it can do a couple of other events, something like that. For me, that doesn't resolve it entirely. It doesn't make it, obviously, doesn't get it to net zero, is what they're trying to sort of go to. So I feel like it's a little bit more of a ticking box, a little bit for London, a little bit this one, because they're kind of pinching. Look at us, look at this stadium. It's all green, and it's self-sufficient in terms of its energy. I'm not convinced it actually is, because I know people that work at the stadium, because I work in that industry, and and previously have worked with people that have sort of within the stadium itself, but basically in terms of the maintenance of it. And I'm telling you now, that stadium's live all the time, 24/7, 7 days a week. It's constant, absolutely constant, 365 days a year. It is, you've got security there all the time. It's offices every day. People there are working. You've got events on all the time. You've got the pitch that's got to be continually maintained, which is basically a 24/7 operation. There's a lot going on at that stadium all the time. It's not as if they turn the power off when the fans leave on a match day and say, right, see you in a couple of weeks. It is running all the time. Obviously, West Ham's offices are there, aren't they? The maintenance offices are all there. So the fact that they're just saying it can run the football games, I'm not knocking it. I'm all for green energy, as long as it's not costing us money. I don't think people should be attacked for it, but I feel like it's the right thing in terms of the planet. Certainly, you want to see that we're looking after the planet as best we can. So I've got no problem with it in that regard. But what it actually did, though, I felt was kind of put a nail in the coffin in terms of West Ham getting the stadium. I purchasing it from the government or the mayor's office, because I felt that was the way it should go now. And it really annoys me that they've got this mentality at the stadium, the government do, certainly bloody Sadiq Khan does, with regards to, West Ham owning the stadium. No, we wouldn't sell it to them. Well, let's get it right. We were bloody going to be sold it. That was the original agreement. It's only when bloody Spurs and Leyton Orient stuck their noses in that they then backpedaled and went, oh, hang on, no, we're going to do it as a rental agreement now. And then it's proved to be a total disaster for them. And they should have just got ignored, in my opinion, the complaints from them and just gone ahead with the sale anyway. But there we are. So why it's suddenly such a big issue, the idea of selling it to West Ham, I don't know. But the fact that they're putting these the solar panels in kind of makes you feel, well, the chances of West Ham buying the stadium now are certainly in the short term are looking very, very unlikely. But Sean Whetstone's put up a really interesting update on the situation, actually, and I don't think it's a bad one. It's regarding the LLDC, and basically they are now no longer going to have control of the stadium. That's not going to fall under their remit. So I'm just going to quickly go through Sean's update as best I can, and I'm not going to read every single word out because there's a fair bit in it. And basically, it's fallen. It's just off the back of the fact that there's been some resignations within the LLDC. Now, LLDC, as you'll be well aware, operate and manage the stadium on the behalf of the mayor's office, and basically, the stadium owns E20, so they work for them. They basically maintain and look after the stadium, and manage West Ham as well, amongst other parties. Now, Lynn Garner was the kind of face of that, and she and Karen Brady kind of sort of championed this great relationship they had, and it was going to move forward positively. And they were all looking into this naming rights. Remember the magical naming rights that never seem to bloody arrive? 9 years next year. 9 years next year, which they got bloody naming rights partner. It's ridiculous, really, when you think about it. But what do I know? But we've always seemed to have this fractured relationship with, up and down relationship, shall I say, with the LLDC. 1 minute we're, they're all, hugging and kissing, and aren't we all great? And we're going to work together, and it's going to be successful. Next minute, West Ham are taking them to court, and then we're back, we're being all right. Then we're back in court again. So it's been very topsy turvy. But the update from Sean Whetstone, actually, I thought was pretty good, and I'm quite encouraged by it, actually. So I'm going to just read the part of it. I think that's the important bit. The departure of LLDC chairman Lord Peter Hendy and CEO Lynn Garner, so they've now resigned, is now an opportunity for West Ham to start approaching the GLA for a long lease at the London Stadium. So I'm going to explain to you about the GLA now. So it says that Suki Kahuri has been appointed as the new LLDC chair, and Shazia Hussain has been appointed as the chief executive. So they're the replacements for Peter and Lynn. And then said the LLDC will retain the Queen Elizabeth Park. So they're still going to manage other buildings and the land around it, but not the loss-making stadium. Next year, and by the way, I think it says up here, there's a date for this, in April 2025. So April next year, it's not long off. Next year, April 2025, the London Stadium, owned by E20, will be transferred to the Greater London Authority Holdings Limited, which is the GLA. It's funded by the London taxpayers. The move, in theory, allows the GLA to explore granting a lease to West Ham for the London Stadium, which loses £15 million a year in running costs. That's a lot of money, isn't it? That is a lot of money. A long lease would allow West Ham full control of the stadium and the ability to manage the stadium as they see fit, the same way that Manchester City do at the Etihad. Now, this is where I'm thinking, okay, this sounds a bit more like it. Sadiq Khan has poured cold water on talk of selling the London Stadium to West Ham, insisting that he considers the venue one of the city's crown jewels. Okay. Khan insists that he's not interested in offloading it unless there's an offer that is too good to say no to. So you are flipping selling it then. Do you know what I mean? They bang on about this. Oh, yeah, we can't sell it because it's this, it's that. Oh, it's the crown jewel. And, what was it? The legacy of the Olympics. Unless you offer me enough money, though, then I will sell it. Right. Okay. So what is it then? Khan insists. Oh, I've said that. West Ham currently rent the stadium I've got a 25-day event per year calendar, which we signed in 2013, which has 88 years to run. A long lease would give the Hammers full control and to find naming rights, and we would be able to profit from that, to operate the stadium as we see fit, to run the catering and all other non-football events. And this is now where the finances come in from last year. I mean, it's pretty rubbish. I mean, I'm not going to go for every bit, but it says the Freedom of Information request earlier that shows that London Stadium earns £21.7 million in revenue in a year, this last year, right? UK Athletics provided no revenue, surprising. The remaining comes from West Ham, contributed 6.36 million. The others come from music, baseball, and other events. So let me just go where I was. For West Ham to agree to a long-term lease, West Ham would have to therefore be confident that we'd be able to plug the £15 million black hole by running the stadium more efficiently, or bringing more sponsors, bringing sponsorships to the ground, and revenue from receiving from other events, etc., etc. So this actually seems like this seems like a good idea. You know, I'm warming to this one. It seems like it might be something that ticks boxes for all parties, because what it would do if they can do a lease with West Ham, the stadium, by giving West Ham full control, West Ham then have a football stadium, and effectively then when you come to the value of the football club, West Ham, well, we've got a long-term lease. We've got a 200-year lease on this stadium. We can do what we want with it. We make money from the sponsorships. We make money from the events. We've got bloody, you know, gigs next week and all this kind of stuff. We're making money from that because we own the lease of the stadium. But then what it would also do for the mayor's office, it would allow them to go, well, no, we still own it. West Ham got the lease, but it's still ours. Do you know what I mean? It kind of works probably well for both parties. Exactly as basically Man City have with the Etihad. Now, you only got to look at the Etihad. Obviously, we know it's a far more suitable stadium for football. But don't forget, Man City are putting in plans to expand it, to make it to have more seating at the stadium. So they're obviously within that. They've got that power to do that. So I think this could work really well. And I'm more interested in this because I feel like the chances of actually West Ham getting the stadium are just not going to happen. Certainly not if Sadiq Khan's in office. He just seems to have absolutely zero appetite to sell it. So there you go. It's quite interesting, that one. I think it's one to keep an eye on, most definitely. I mean, I want West Ham to have control of the stadium because I want us to be able to convert it and make it into a proper stadium and something that when we could be a bit more proud of. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and keep slagging the stadium. I find it quite a boring subject to keep going on about, really. We've been there, 9 years, I've said, next year. So it does feel like it's one of them that, you know, right, it's our own. Just trying to make the most of it. But if West Ham were to get a lease and say, look, actually you are now in control, you can make money from this, and also look, if you want to put applications in to have it configured to make it more suitable for football, then we're more than happy to accommodate it. Then that would certainly work for West Ham, absolutely. But then, having said that, we've then got to take on the risk. So it swings and roundabouts as whether West Ham are going to want to be able to do that. I hope that we do, and I'd like to think that we've got confidence that we'd be able to make it a profitable football stadium. I'm not going to say football stadium because it's not quite there, is it? So yeah, that's it. And obviously, and then to summarise, Lucas Paqueta then getting his extension granted. Whether that's going to make any impact on him, I don't know. I really hope it does. I just want this bloody thing resolved. I do. I'm so tired of it dragging on there. It's been a long while, wasn't it? Well over a year, and it's you can see it's having its toll on the player. We'll talk about that another time in a bit more detail when the timing's right, because it does feel like it's difficult to keep going on about. But yeah, in terms of the stadium though, I think pretty positive news. Come on, your words.